Hello, welcome to my videos on my blog. In this time, I'm going to talk about the NFL 2025 season, week 1 scores. Well, the last week, the last Thursday, started the NFL 2025 season with the Thursday night football game between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Later, the Friday, the Chiefs and Chargers play second game. They play in Brazil for a back-to-back years. The Sunday they played 13 games, and yesterday closed the game with the Minnesota against Chicago. So, for that reason, I am recording this video where I'm going to talk about the games, the result, and how are the standings. So let's start. How I told you, the NFL 2025 season started this last Thursday, where in the Thursday night football, the reigning champion team, the Philadelphia Eagles, defeated the Dallas Cowboys 24-20. Remember that the Eagles defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl 59, where where it was an easy game. And in that game, the last February, Eagles won its second Vince Lombardi Trophy in its history. So, about this game, the Eagles were super favorites, but to be honest, the Eagles didn't play a very great football. I'm not gonna lie. The Dallas Cowboys surprised me a lot because they play a better game than I expected. But in the end, in the important moments, in the last quarter, the Eagles executed better. The Cowboys wasted a lot of opportunities. They had the opportunity to win this game, but in the end, they couldn't, and the Eagles won the game. How I told you, the game was very close because in the halftime, the Eagles were leading by only 1 point difference, 21-20. Later in the second quarter, had they started better for the Eagles, but in that moment, in the first minutes of the third quarter, the game has to be the game was postponed more than 1 hour because it was a weather delay. It's because there were a storm in the city where is the stadium lining. So for that reason, the game was delayed more than 1 hour. After that, I think that the Eagles adjusted better than the Cowboys. After that, no team scored any point, and in the end, the Eagles won that game. How I told you, the Eagles, the reigning champion team, didn't play a very great football, but in the end, the most important is that they won the game. And remember that the top teams, even when they play a very bad football, they can win the game. About the Dallas Cowboys, remember there was a lot of noise in the Cowboys in the off season. This is something typical. They lost an important case like the Mika Parson, but in the end, they play a good football. But in the end, it wasn't enough. So with this victory, the Eagles won its first game, and the Cowboys lost its first game. In the second game of the day, in the last Friday, the Los Angeles Chargers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 27-21 on Brazil, in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Remember that this was the second game play in Brazil. This was the back-to-back years, where the last years the Eagles, the reigning champion team, defeated the Packers there in Brazil. So, about this game, the favorite were the Kansas City Chiefs, the runner-up team. I thought that they were going to win this game, but in the end, the Chargers executed better. And I think that the Chiefs are going to suffer a lot because I think that in this moment, they don't have the enough talent to try to execute like the last season. But in the end, they are the Kansas City Chiefs. They have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and they're gonna to start to winning game. About this game, I like how great the Chargers play, especially Justin Herbert, that he scored 3 touchdowns. He played a tremendous game. Patrick Mahomes only scored 1 touchdown, but in the end, the Chargers were the best. Was the best team. About this game, the Chiefs had the opportunity to try to win this game in the last quarter, but they couldn't move the ball. The Chargers stopped it, and in the end, the Chargers won the game. Also, I think that the Chiefs could 17 straight victories or games where the Chiefs had won by less than one possession, by less than 7 point difference, and also the Chargers could a very bad streak where they had 10 or more straight games that they lose a game for less than one possession. So the season started better for the Chargers. They won the game, and also they won against a divisional rival. And with this victory, the Chargers started with a victory in the season, and the Chiefs started losing the game. But be careful because I think that this is gonna to be tougher season for the Chiefs than the last three seasons. But in the end, in my opinion, the Chiefs alongside the Bills and Ravens are the candidates to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl 60. Let's see. And remember, this is a very where information is that the last years that the team that won the game in Brazil, the Eagles, won the Super Bowl. Let's see. Maybe this can be something good for the Chargers, but let's see. And the games that started that were playing the Sunday in the first game, the Indianapolis Colts didn't have any problem and defeated and humiliated the Miami Dolphins 33-0. About this game, the Colts had an easy game. They scored in the 7 possession that they offense possession that they had in the game. They have an easy game, and they had the game under control in the halftime because they were leading 20-0. To be honest, I was very surprised for the great game that the Colts played, but also for the awful game that the Miami Dolphins played. About the Tua Tagovailoa, he played a very bad football because he threw by 1 touchdown but 2 interceptions, and this costed the game. So I think that for all the games that we watched, I think that the worst team until this moment was the Miami Dolphins because they played a full game. In the end, the Indianapolis Colts won the game easily and they got the first victory. Also, something to say is that the Colts offenses play a tremendous game because they made 418 total yards, 262 by pass and 156 by run. And about the Miami Dolphins only had 211 total yards, 133 by pass, and 78 by run. So the Dolphins need to improve a lot in football because if not, they are gonna to have a lot of problems. And also the big difference is that the Colts didn't have any takeaway, but they give it away. But the Dolphins had 3 giveaways, 1 fumble and 2 interceptions, and this costed the game. In the second game of the Sunday, my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, traveled to New Jersey, to the East, roots for New Jersey, and defeated the New York Nets 34-32. Remember, this was a very atypical off-season for the Steelers because they made a lot of hire in the sing in the off-season where they sing the Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jelly Ramsey, and Marius Slade. So I think that the Steelers have a better team this season than the last season, and I think that for first time in a long time the Steelers offense is better than the defense offense. So this game it was a very great from the Steelers offense because they scored 34 points. This is something very rare because I remember that the last season the Steelers only had a game that scored more than 30 points, and Aaron Rodgers played a tremendous game where he threw by 4 touchdowns. He played a tremendous game, but to be honest, the defense played a very awful game. But the most important is that in the last position of the game that the Jets had, the Steelers defense stopped the Jets, and this was the big difference to win the game. Also, I think that here's the difference was that the Jets. I think that when they had scored his first touchdown in the first quarter, instead to through the automatic extra point, the field goal, they decided to try the 2 points attainment. They missed it, and I think that this was the problem. Also, the Jets had in the touchdown that they scored in the last quarter, they decided to score another 2 points attainment, and also the Steelers defense stopped it, and the Steelers won the game. It was the most important. How I told you, the Steelers defense allowed 394 total yards, 212 by pass, and 182 by rush. So the Steelers need to be very worried because the Jets ran a lot. The important was the victory, but in the end, the Steelers need to improve in that. And also another thing that the Steelers need to focus in the offense, the Steelers couldn't establish the running game, and this is something that the Steelers need to focus and try to establish, because if not, the Aaron Rodgers is going to suffer a lot. And also that the Steelers offense linemen allow 4 sacks, so they need to take care or to protect the Aaron Rodgers. If not, he can be injured in the season. But the most important is that the Steelers won the game. In another game, the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't have any problem and defeated the Carolina Panthers 26-10. About this game, the Jaguars had an easy game. I'm not gonna lie, the Panthers played one of the worst game, a very bad game of the day, and I think alongside the Dolphins were the worst team in the week 1. The Jaguars had the game under control, where in the halftime they were leading the game 23. About this game, what happened in the Eagles Cowboys game. It was the live, but this was the live more than 1 hour and 30 minutes. 1 hour and 20 minutes, because it was a weather the live. It wasn't a store, and for that reason the game was live 1 hour and 30 minutes, 1:30 hour. So even that, the Jaguars dominated this game. The Carolina Panthers didn't present, and in the end, the Jaguars won the game 26-10. With this victory, the Jaguars started the season winning, and the Panthers, it looked that they are gonna to be another suffering season. In another game, the Arizona Cardinals traveled to New Orleans and defeated the New Orleans Saints. About this game, I think that this game wasn't very well played, but in the end, it was funny because the Saints had to play. The game was always close. The difference was always between 3 to 7, 10-point difference, and the Saints had the opportunity to tie this game and force the overtime, but in the Saints' last possession of the game, they couldn't score any goal. The Cardinals defense played a tremendous game, and in the end, the Cardinals won the game. About this game, the Carly Murray, the Cardinals quarterback, scored 2 touchdowns that led the team to the victory. In the statistics, the Saints were the best team, but the big difference is that the Cardinals execute better. They did his work in the first half, and that was enough to win this game. So, with this victory, the Cardinals started the season with a victory. In another game, in a divisional game, the Washington Commanders didn't have any problem and defeated the New York Giants 21-6. About this game, I expected that the Commanders were gonna to win this game by more than 14-point difference, according to what happened the last week. But to be honest, the Commanders' offenses play a very good game, to be honest, and the Commanders' defenses led the team to the victory. In the end, this is part of the game. This is a team, and the Commanders won the game easily. About the Giants, I think that they're gonna to suffer, especially the offense, because the Russell Wilson that played the last year with the Steelers couldn't move the ball, and I think that the Giants are gonna to have it's gonna to be another bad season, and they're gonna to suffer a lot. These poor fans. About the game, how I told you, the Commanders were the best team. But the offense didn't shine like the past. But in the end, the most important is they won this game easily, 21-6, and they got the first victory. In another game, in a divisional game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Atlanta Falcons 23-20. About this game, I think that the Atlanta Falcons played a good game, but I think that they had the opportunity to close this game in the first minutes of the third quarter, because I thought that they were better. But in the fourth quarter is when the Buccaneers reacted. The Baker Mayfield led in Buccaneers' last possession of the game. They led the team to a touchdown, and that was enough to win that game. About the Falcons, they had the last possession of the game, and Michael Penix Jr., the Falcons quarterback, led the team to a field goal by 40 or 30 yards, and in the end, unfortunately for the Falcons, his goalkeeper Joey Cole missed the possible field goal tie, and he missed it, and the game wasn't sent to the overtime, because the most probably if the Falcons kicker Joe Joe who had scored that field goal, the game should have been in overtime, but it wasn't. And this was a very important victory because the Buccaneers won as a away team and they won in a divisional game. With this victory, the Buccaneers won the game. They are 1-0, and the Atlanta Falcons lost and fell to a 0-1. This was a very important game because it's a divisional game, and I think that these two teams are going to fight to win the NFC South. In another divisional game, the Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Cleveland Browns 17-16. About this game, I think that the Browns deserve a little better because I think that they play better than the Cincinnati Bengals. But how I told you, most of the time when a top team like the Bengals play bad, most of the time they can win the game. This is something that the bad teams like the Browns, when most of the time they play a good football, but most of the time they can win the game. About this game, the Browns were the best team because they had a 327 total yards, 278 by pass, and only 49 by run. And by the Bengals, they only had 141 total yards, 95 by pass, and 46 by run. How I told you, the Bengals play a very bad football, but the big difference is that the Cleveland Browns had 2 interceptions that the Bengals converted in points, and that's what the difference to win this game. Also, the Browns kicker Andrew Smith missed an important field goal that had led the game, and the Browns should have been that game, but in the end he missed it, and the Browns lost an important game. With this victory, the Bengals started with a victory. It's the first time in 3 years. In another game, the Las Vegas Raiders defeated the New England Patriots 2013. About this game, it was a close game, but I think that the big difference was in the third quarter. Was in the second half when the Raiders execute better than the New England Patriots, and that was enough to win this game. I think that the big difference is that the Raiders scored 10 points in the third quarters. They took the lead 17-10, and that was enough to win the game. After that, the Patriots couldn't move the ball, and the Raiders play a great game, and they won that game. With this victory, the Raiders started the season with a victory, and the Patriots was an opportunity to start a victory in the season in home. Another divisional game, the San Francisco 49ers traveled to Seattle and defeated the Seattle Seahawks 17-13. About this game, this was a very important game because, how I told you, I think that the Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Rams are going to fight to win the NFC West. About this game, this was a great game, and even that the Sam Darnold, the Seahawks quarterback, didn't play a bad game. The problem is that he couldn't execute better in the last quarter. The Seattle Seahawks have the opportunity to score a touchdown and win it. They couldn't, and they missed the game. For the 49ers, Brock Purdy didn't play a very good football, great football. He threw by 2 interceptions, but in the same time he scored by two touchdowns. And also the most important is that the Brock Purdy, in the 49ers' last possession of the game, he led the team to the victory touchdown, and this was important. And the San Francisco 49ers won the game 17-13, but also there is a bad news because it looks like the George Kittle and John Jennings got injured, and the most probably there are going to be a lot of games in the sidelines. So let's see what's going to happen. But the most important for the 49ers is that they started the win. The season with a victory, and the most important, they defeated the divisional rival and as a away team. In another game, the Denver Broncos defeated the Tennessee Titans 2012. About this game, I think that this game it was very similar to what happened between the Browns and the Bengals, where the Titans, the loser team, play a very I think that they play a better football than the Broncos, but because they didn't have any giveaway. But the big difference is that the Broncos executed better. Also, the Broncos had 2 interceptions because his quarterback Bo Nix threw two interceptions, but the Tennessee Titans didn't took advantage of that, and for that reason they missed the game. Also, another error that I detected is, for example, in the Titans were gonna to have more minutes in the last position of the game, but defense made a very silly mistake that gave the Broncos another four opportunities, and that was the end of the game. In the end, the Tennessee Titans play a good game. Is rookie quarterback Cameron Ward play a good game. Is not the best game, but in the end, he's gonna to learn a lot. I think that the Titans are a better team that the team that was last year, but in the end, the Denver Broncos had the experience and they won the game, and they won at home, and they won the first game of the season. And in another game, I think that it was the second best game of the day, but this wasn't close as I expected. The Green Bay Packers defeated the Detroit Lions 27-13. About this game, remember the last week, the Packers trade for the Micah Parsons, the pass rusher, the former Cowboys pass rusher, and he made the difference. And also, the Detroit Lions were affected that his two former coordinators, the offense and the defense, that they sing with the Jets, the defense, and the offense sing for the Bears as a head coach. This affected because the Packers dominated this game. The Packers won the game easily because in the halftime they were leading 17-3. I thought that the Lions were going to react in the second half, that they were going to reduce the game and they were going to win this game, but in the end, the Packers dominated this game from the beginning to the end, and they won easily 27-13. How I told you, I was very surprised for the bad performance from the Lions players, but in the end, I think that the Lions are going to recover because they are a good team. I think that the Lions are going to fight to win the NFC North and also to fight to try to win the NFC and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl 60. But I think that they need to recover, try to learn from this, because if not, it looks like that the Packers can win this division. But I think that it's very early to say that. And in another game, the LA Rams defeated the Houston Astros 49. Before this game, I thought that this game were gonna to be with the highest score. I think that both teams were gonna to score a lot of games because they have a tremendous offense. But I think that the Rams play a very smart game. They did enough. Matthew Stafford didn't play an awesome game, but he did the enough to win this game and led the Rams to the victory. About the Houston Texans, especially the offense, I think that the CJ Stroud didn't play a very good football. Also, the last season, the CJ Stroud didn't play a very great football like he played 2 years ago in his rookie year. But I think that the Texans won that division because his division is very bad because they are in the AFC, so and they play because, and this is a very weak division. So for that reason, they won they won the division. But as I told you, I think that the Texans play a bad game, but in the offense side, because I think that the Texas defense play a good game. But the problem is that his offense didn't help them, and in the end, the Rams did enough. They took advantage of playing home. They won the game 14-9, and they won the game. And the game in the Sunday Night Football, in the best game of the day, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Baltimore Ravens 41-40. About this game, I'm not going to lie. The Ravens were the best team. Yeah, but the Ravens missed an opportunity. I think that they relax a lot, and the Buffalo Bills never gave it up. They took advantage that the Ravens reduced his football level, and the Bills won the game in the last minutes of the game. The Ravens were leading the game easily right now because in the halftime they were leading 20-13. After that, in the fourth quarter, with less than 4 minutes to play, in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes to play, the Ravens were leading the game 40-25, and in that moment the game was over. After that, the Bills scored a touchdown, and they missed the 2-point attainment, and the yeah, 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 and the Ravens in that moment were leading the game 40-31. After that, the no yeah yeah. No, yeah, yeah. After that, the Ravens had the possession and they started to play a very conservative. Where the problem is that the Ravens runner back Derrick Henry that had played a very good football before the last minutes of the fourth quarter. He had scored two touchdowns. He made a football or he missed the football. The Bills took advantage and they scored a touchdown and they were only trailing by 3 point difference, 40-38. After that, the Ravens had the possession. They had the opportunity to make a first down and they could win the game. They should have won the game, but they couldn't move the ball. The Bills stopped it, and the Bills moved the ball with less than 1 minute to play, and they score a field goal with less than 10 seconds to play. And his kicker scored the Matt Prater, and in the end, the Bills won the game 41-40. To be honest, it was amazing this comeback, but to be honest, I think that we need to say that it was the Ravens' foul because you can you can waste a 15 points advantage with less than 4 minutes to play. To be honest, I think that the Ravens relaxed a lot. They thought that the game was over, but Kawhi told you the Bills never gave it up. The Ravens play a very conservative in the last minutes of the game. They should have look for the first down and finish the game. In the end, I think that this is a very costly game, a costly loss, because with this victory, maybe can be the difference between to finish in the first set in the AFC or in the second set and play in the AFC Championship game in Buffalo or Baltimore, but the most probably could be in Buffalo. Let's see. Yesterday finishes the week with a divisional game when the Minnesota Vikings defeated the Chicago Bears 27-24. About this game, I'm not going to lie, the first 3 minutes, 3 quarters were very ugly. It was very awful because in the end of the third quarter, the Bears were leading the game 26. About this game, the Bears had the game under control. I'm not gonna lie. But in the fourth quarter, the Vikings improved a lot, and also a rookie quarterback. Yeah, I say rookie because he didn't play the last season because of a knee injury. This is his second season, but his first playing. JJ McCarthy played a tremendous football in the last quarter, where the Vikings scored 3 touchdowns with that answer. Also in the last touchdown, they scored a 2 points attainment. And in the end, the Vikings won the game 27-24. The Bears, when they were trailing 27-17, they scored a touchdown. But the problem is that I think that his new head coach, Johnson, I think so. He didn't decide to kick short. He decided to kick long, and this affected the team because when they stopped the Vikings, the Bears only had one time off. The Bears after that the Vikings, they stopped the Vikings and 3 and out. The Bears in the last position had only less than 10 seconds to play and they lost the game. But I told you, I think that the Bears wasted the lead because they were leading 17-6 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. I think that the Bears relaxed. They thought that the game was over. The Vikings, after the Vikings scored the first touchdown, they reduced the game to a 4 point difference. After that, the next Bears possession, Caleb Williams threw an interception, and in that moment they were trailing by only 3 point difference. And after that, the game was over. Also, I am very disappointed from Caleb Williams. No, sorry. I was very confused. I was very disappointed from Caleb Williams because I expected more about the Bears quarterback because the last year he didn't show a lot of very any great skills or any improvement. I think that he is making a lot of mistakes, the same mistake that he did the last year. So let's see if he can, with this new head coach, he can improve, because if not, maybe the most probably the next year or in the next 2 years, he can be benched. So after 1 week, the standings are the next. In the AFC East, the only team that won were the Bills 1-0, and the rest of the team lost. In the AFC East, the 3 teams won: the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders, and the Chiefs were the only team that lost. This is very weird, because I don't know, this is the first time in a long time that the Chiefs are in the bottom of this division, but this is gonna to change. In the AFC North, the Bengals and the Steelers won, and the Ravens and Browns lost. And the AFC South, the Colts and Jaguars won, and the Texans and Titans lost. And in the NFC East, the Commanders and Eagles won, and the Cowboys and Giants lost. In the AFC West, the 49ers and Cardinals and Rams won, and the Seahawks are in the bottom. And in the AFC North, the Packers and Vikings won, and the Bears and Lions lost. Very weird that the 2 games were divisional games. In the AFC South, the Buccaneers were the only team that won, and the rest of the teams lost. So I hope you like this video, and if you have any comments to get, you can write me in the social media platform. So see you next video. Chibra.